Now improve your English by answering an interesting question. If you want to get stronger, it's important to practice.
Hi, I'm Eric. Are you ready for some more speaking practice? Today's question is a pretty good one because it's the kind of question that has been more common on the TOEFL test recently. You just have to explain your opinion, but the topic may be about something that you haven't really considered before. So, to answer well, you will have to use your imagination and rely on experience. And the way to get experience is by practicing. Anyway, it doesn't matter what your interests are or why you want to improve your English. Everybody can benefit and grow by doing some speaking practice. So, let's practice. Let's watch.
Speaking practice number 25. Today's question: do you think it's important for parents to teach their kids how to manage money? Use reasons and specific examples to support your opinion. If you're doing TOEFL practice, this is an independent speaking question. You have to explain which option you would choose, and you have only 15 seconds to prepare. Then you have to speak for 45 seconds. Want to try? Of course, you can write your own answer later, but if you're interested in doing it before you see my answer, you can think about it now. Then, when you're ready, let's take a look. Example answer: I think it's very important for parents to teach their kids how to manage money. First of all, kids won't bother their parents as much about buying foolish things like games or snack foods if they see how hard money management is. When parents show their kids how money is earned, what it's used for, and how to save it, children may become more respectful, realizing how stressful it is. And secondly, money management is complicated nowadays. In order to know how to navigate through this complicated financial world, getting an early start from a young age is of utmost importance. Teens will soon have to think about paying bills for cars and smartphones, and they'll have to buy everyday necessities like school materials, not to mention getting credit cards and student loans.
Okay, so now you've seen my model answer. I hope it gives you some good ideas. But really, I know, this question is pretty hard. It's a kind of topic that not too many high school or college students have thought about. But now, let's look at the next part of today's presentation. This time, I want to explain the main points that you should think about anytime you make a short speech. Actually, these points should always be in your mind whenever you have to explain something, whether you're writing an essay, making a presentation, or submitting a report. It's kind of a lot to think about, but when you practice enough, it all becomes natural, and you can do it without thinking. So, now, let's take a look at the keywords for today, and then get ready to study all the points that are part of making a good speech.
Keywords: should parents teach their kids money management? The first expression is paying bills. Paying bills means paying for the things you need in your home, paying for the use of electricity, water, gas, etc. In your home, you'll probably use electricity all the time, and maybe you use water more than you realize. And of course, gas is important for things like cooking dinner. But every month, you'll receive a bill from these companies, and then you have to pay. Next is student loan. A student loan is an amount of money given to a student so they can pay their tuition, but which they have to return. Eventually, they have to pay it back. Going to university can be very expensive, so schools and banks will give money to students that they can use until they graduate. But be careful, because you'll have to give the money back. It's just a loan. Navigate. Navigate basically just means to move a ship across the water, but in another way, it means to make progress by finding your way through a difficult situation. Try to imagine, if you're just going on the sea in your boat, it's possible there are some dangers, like sharks. Watch out. By navigating carefully, you can continue to make progress. And when there are any other problems, you can try to navigate the situation, and eventually you'll get to the end and find what you were looking for. Number 4 is financial. Financial is a word that shows something is related to money, or related to the management and use of money. Also, banks, for example, can be called financial institutions. And today we have a bonus expression, of utmost importance. If you say that something is of utmost importance, it's extremely important, at the highest level of importance. This word should not be used too much. It sounds really formal. Maybe try using it just sometimes. Checklist. Let's look at the points that you should think about when making a short speech, or any kind of speech or presentation. First, did you follow a good order? When thinking about the order of your speech, the most important point is to start with a clear introduction. I did that by saying that it's very important to teach kids money management. For the rest of your speech, there are several ways to continue, but it's good just to give a reason. Then explain the reason. You still have time, so you can give another reason. But if you give another reason, you have to explain it too. So you see, it's not too difficult to follow a good order. You should always begin with a clear introduction. That's most important. Then give your reason and explain it. And continue by giving a second reason and explain it too. The next point on the checklist is to include specific details and examples. Remember, when you include details, you talk about who, what, where, when, how, and why. In today's speech, who means parents, kids, and teens. Then you should try to talk about specific things. That's the what. I mentioned games and snack foods, cars and smartphones, credit cards, and so on. Then you should mention where. Today, I said navigate through this complicated financial world. Next, you should try to mention when. When can mean when, nowadays, or from a young age. How is a little difficult, because how can have several meanings. But I said how money is earned, what it's used for, and how to save it. Also, if you ask how important it is, the answer is of utmost importance. Finally, don't forget to answer why. Because kids won't bother their parents, and in order to know how to navigate the financial world. Details have a good effect on your speech. They make it richer. If you can add more details, it's easier to imagine what the speaker wants to say. Point 3. Is there some variety? Use variety in your grammar. Your speech becomes more interesting. You can also change your sentence patterns, making your sentences longer or shorter for more power or sharpness. Looking at the speech, let's talk about grammar first. I began my speech by saying, kids won't bother their parents if they see how hard money management is. This is a useful pattern. If A, then B will happen. But I changed it and said it in reverse. B will happen if A. Next I said, when parents show their kids, they may become more respectful. Again, this is a common pattern that says, if A, then B. But I changed it again and said, when A, B. Then I said that money is earned, and it is used. These are passive sentences. Then I said teens will soon have to think, and they will have to buy. These sentences talk about the future using will. As you can see, it's natural to use a variety of grammar. But like I said, you can also change your sentence patterns sometimes. If you look at the middle of my speech, I included a long, complicated sentence with a lot of details. And then, right next to it, I made a very short sentence that's quick and sharp. Both kinds are important, and it shows good variety too. Point number 4. Did you use appropriate vocabulary? When you think of the topic of the speech, you should think of related words that match. As you know, today's topic was money management. Let's see what words might be related. Well, in the beginning, I talked about buying foolish things. Foolish is a good word to use when we shop carelessly, or if we're wasteful with our money. Next, I talked about earning money. You have to know this word, but you could also say make money. They both mean getting money for doing work. Of course, we have saving money. To save money means to keep money to use later. And then we already talked about these other expressions, financial, paying bills, and student loans. All of these words are related to the topic, money management. Point number 5. Did you stay on message? Stay on message is an expression that people who make speeches use. It means you should focus on the main idea. Let's see. In the introduction, I said, I think it's very important for parents to teach their kids how to manage money. So managing money is my main idea that I have to focus on. Well, after the introduction, I mentioned money management again. And then I mention money management one more time. Later I talk about the financial world. Finance means related to money management. And then I talk about paying bills, which is an important part of managing money. And finally, at the very end, I talk about credit cards and student loans, which are still related to money management. So if we look at the whole speech, we see that from the beginning all the way down to the end, I stay focused on the main idea. I stay on message. So it seems like there are many things to think about. First, you have to put your speech in a good order, starting in the beginning with a good introduction. Then you have to include many details. Remember to think about who, what, where, when, how, and why. Next, it's good to use variety. Think about your grammar and sentence patterns. You can use different verb tenses to change your grammar, and use longer sentence patterns or shorter ones. For athletes, balance and speed are very good, but so are strength and toughness. If you are an athlete, being fast and strong would be perfect. And use the right vocabulary. If you like insects, for example, don't say that ants live in houses. Ants live in colonies. And finally, you have to stay on message, and that means you have to focus. While doing all of these things would be great, there actually is one more point, and that's automaticity or fluency. Actually, native speakers do all of these things naturally when they speak every day. You do this in your language too. So when you speak, try to speak naturally. If you can do this, you seem more confident. Then the audience will respect you more and agree with you. Next question. If the police stop a driver who's driving drunk, do you think that their driver's license should be taken away? Support your answer with details and examples. Okay, once again, try it on your own. There's more work to do. If you get more experience, you'll become a real pro. Then you'll get what you're looking for, and the treasure will be yours.
Okay, I know that was a lot to think about, and maybe some parts were a little boring, but you have to see it. You have to think about it, and then you have to try doing it. I hope you keep practicing, and be sure to watch the next video. We have a lot more coming. Also, I know that many of you who are watching maybe have your own ideas about how to answer these questions. So please leave a comment below. I'm sure it'll start an interesting conversation, and maybe it will be helpful to the other learners who are practicing hard like you. And please push the like button below the video and subscribe to my channel if you think it's interesting or helpful. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thank you.